February 1959, Northern Ural Mountains, 9 young experienced hikers set out on a winter expedition, classified as the highest difficulty level. The group was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, an engineering student, skilled mountaineer, and respected team leader. This was not reckless tourism. Every member was trained, prepared, and mentally fit for extreme conditions. On January 28th, the group was seen for the last time. When they failed to return, a search operation was launched. At first, rescuers assumed a delay, common in winter expeditions. But on February 26, the search team found something that instantly raised alarms. The tent stood on the slope of Kolatsiachal Mountain. It was properly set up but cut open from the inside. Inside the tent were boots, jackets, food supplies, documents, and equipment. Everything necessary to survive temperatures reaching 30 degrees Celsius. The hikers themselves were gone. Footprints in the snow showed that the group left the tent barefoot or wearing only socks, calmly walking downhill toward the forest. They were not running. The steps suggested urgency, but not chaos. The first bodies were discovered near the tree line. 2 hikers were found nearly naked beside the remains of a small campfire. 3 more lay between the forest and the tent, positioned as if they were trying to return, but never made it. The cause of death for these 5 was officially ruled as hypothermia. But the mystery was far from over. When the snow melted months later, the remaining 4 hikers were found in a ravine. Their injuries were shocking. Crushed ribs, massive skull fractures, internal bleeding, without any external wounds. One woman was missing her tongue. Another victim had no eyes. Medical experts concluded that the injuries were caused by a force comparable to a high-speed car crash. There were no signs of a fight, no footprints of outsiders. And then came another detail that raised even more questions. Radiation was detected on some of the clothing. What could force 9 rational, experienced people to abandon shelter and walk into a frozen nightmare? The official Soviet investigation ended with a vague and unsettling statement. The cause of death was an overwhelming force of nature. No clarification followed. The case was quietly closed and parts of the files were classified. That silence gave birth to dozens of theories. The most widely accepted today is the avalanche theory. In 2019 to 2020, investigators suggested that a small slab avalanche frightened the hikers, forcing them to cut their way out of the tent and flee. However, critics point out several problems. The slope was not considered avalanche-prone. The tent was not buried, and no clear avalanche traces were documented. Another explanation involves infrasound. Under specific wind conditions, mountains can produce low-frequency sound waves that humans cannot hear but can feel. These waves may cause anxiety, panic, and irrational fear. While scientifically possible, this theory still fails to explain the severe physical injuries. Then there is the military testing theory. Witnesses reported seeing glowing fireballs in the sky that night. The region was partially restricted, and the Soviet Union was actively testing weapons nearby. Radiation on clothing only deepened suspicion. Yet no direct proof has ever surfaced. More controversial ideas followed. UFOs, unknown creatures, or an external attack. They sound extreme, but such theories persist because many details remain unexplained. There is also the phenomenon of paradoxical undressing, which occurs during severe hypothermia, when victims remove clothing due to neurological confusion. This explains the lack of clothing, but not the crushed bones. The true horror of the Dyatlov Pass incident lies in one fact: no single theory explains everything. Each version solves part of the puzzle and leaves critical questions unanswered. More than 60 years have passed. Files were reopened. Technology advanced. Experts returned to the evidence again and again, and still, no final answer exists. The Dyatlov Pass remains not just a tragedy, but one of the most unsettling mysteries in modern history.